Stephanie Rodriguez. I wanted to make a yoga video today about hamstring stretching and proper foot foundation and foot placement for forward folds, especially for standing forward folds, but this can really be applied to pretty much any forward fold. You just have to adapt depending on whether your feet are actually touching the ground or not. So a lot of my clients actually have very tight hamstrings, and I was blessed recently with retightening my hamstrings, the retightening of my hamstrings, because I started working out and was trained by someone who taught me how to engage my hamstrings properly. After years and years of yoga and stretching, I had kind of lost that proper muscle engagement in my hamstrings. So redeveloping that tightness helped me understand better what my clients are going through when they have very tight hamstrings, and how important it is to create proper foot foundation and foundation, especially when you go into forward folds like Uttanasana, standing forward folds. How important it is to transfer the energy and the support that you're getting from the ground through your leg muscles, so creating a kinetic chain, a closed circuit of energy, kind of like a bunda, creating a lock or a seal, to draw the support from the ground up through the legs, through the leg muscles, so that they can all be stretched effectively. One of the things a lot of people don't understand about stretching hamstrings effectively is that if they're not engaged, as in they're not working and clenched, then you're not going to be bringing proper oxygen and blood to the muscle groups that are being stretched. They're never going to receive the message that they are being stretched, so they're not going to be able to cooperate with you in the stretch. So to be able to stretch hamstrings and leg muscles in general effectively when you go into a forward fold, you want to make sure that the weight distribution, first of all, is even in the fronts and the backs of the feet. I see a lot of people come into their forward folds and they're all in the toes and their heels kind of get light. And a good way to see if this is happening to you is whether this muscle here in the fronts of the ankles are working. So essentially, if you come into a forward fold and you're leaning forwards and there's no engagement in the fronts of the ankles, there's a good chance that you're not working the backs of your legs at all, that your heels are not grounded, and that you're not going to be stretching your leg muscles effectively. This might result in what we call a sort of yoga butt, where you get a sort of pain right at the attachment or the insertion of the hamstring. That can happen at either end. And I see this a lot, especially in yoga teachers. It's happened to me as well. So the main thing you want to do whenever you're doing a forward fold, first of all, keep a little bit of space between your feet. That allows the pelvic floor muscles to communicate better with the ground as well. And then the second thing you want to do, obviously people who have tight hamstrings won't be going that far, is just to bend your knees. When you bend your knees and you shift the weight distribution in your feet, you can ground better. You can move your pelvis forwards and backwards, bending your knees and moving your pelvis forwards and backwards to shift the body weight until you feel like your heels can grip the ground and your toe mounds can grip the ground. You also want your toes pressing down. It's almost like you want your feet to be pinching the ground, like I could literally pick my mat up off the ground with my feet. Okay. So knees bent will also activate the hamstrings, so they get the message that something's going to happen and that, movement is going to be involved. So you can take your hands to your legs first, and also very important, you don't want to just kind of dive and round your back forwards, because that's going to bypass the hamstring stretch. You actually want to work with a lengthened spine, lengthened muscles, and then drawing muscles in from the core, from the periphery to the core. So engaging muscles, creating that bunda, that energetic seal, so that blood flow can move easily through the major joints and the major muscle groups that are being stretched, so that not all of the stretch is happening just at the ligaments and the tendons, for example, which tend to be a little bit weaker than the rest of the muscle groups. You want to bring the stretch to the belly of the muscle. So here I'll bend my knees, I'll shift the weight forwards and backwards, I'll grip the ground with my feet, and then from there I'll lengthen my spine. A lot of people will already feel a stretch in their hamstrings just from doing that, just from lengthening the spine and being slightly tilted forwards, pulling the tops of the thigh bones back in space, and then lengthening the heart forwards from there. That'll create a stretch already in the back body. If you want to go further from there, try to keep reaching your heart forwards and then down towards the ground, and then in towards your legs without losing the connection between your heel and the ground. A lot of people get light here. Remember, you want to go for the engagement of that muscle in the front of the ankle. So again, lengthening the spine, pull the ribs in, super important for hamstring stretches. Lengthening the heart forwards without getting light in the heels, and grounding back. Every time you need to, just send your butt back in space so that you can reground through your heels. Keep the knees as bent as you need to, and knees as wide as your ankles, always. And then reaching forwards for your forward fold. Okay? Once you can start going deeper into your forward fold, you can start working to straighten the legs, but that's only going to come through time with proper alignment. Always engaging the legs properly, the feet properly, gripping the ground, reaching the heart forwards, engaging your glute muscles. All of my leg muscles are working here. It looks like nothing, but it's actually quite hard and strenuous, but you're working all the muscle groups because with proper blood flow, you can actually stretch the muscles effectively and safely. So again, engaging the feet, bending the knees as much as you need to, sending the butt back in space, lengthening the spine, and the fold comes really from the spine moving, not so much from the hips moving, right? This is what they call hinging at the hips, right? And then from there, keeping my heels grounded the whole time. My heels are still grounded. As you go into your forward fold, you want your heels to be grounded the whole time. Toe mounds grounded, toes gripping the ground. And you can practice this even just going into your regular forward fold if you're more mobile, and without your heels being grounded, noticing where you go and how deep you can go. And if you engage your feet, dip the weight back into your heels a little bit, then you get a softening in your hip flexors. There's more space for your belly to fold. There's more space in your pelvis for the body to come in, the upper body to come in, the torso to fold. Heels grounded the whole time. Feet pressing and engaged. And then to lift up, I stretch the arms out or take your hands to your hips, lift the shoulders, point the elbows towards the ceiling, and lift all the way up to stand. Thanks a lot. That's all I have. Have a good day.